Happy Saturday, everyone, and welcome to the Real Academy. I'm Dr. Sheikah Houston.
Good morning, everybody, and I am Dr. Tammy Taylor, and we're ecstatic to have you guys with us this morning.
Definitely. While Tammy is saying hello to everyone, I'm going to try to get us fed through to some groups. We didn't get to hear from Principal Hurt this morning, but I know that he said his son has a basketball game. So just drop in the comments, let us know that you're here so we can say hello, and I will start to get us fed through.
Absolutely. Good morning again, everybody. We are excited to have you all joining us this morning. We are not showing a video this morning because we are going to be talking about classroom management as many school districts are opening school next week, and we want to share some information that will be helpful to administrators and to teachers as we go back to school. So we are very ecstatic to have Rashard with us this morning. Good morning, Rashard, all the way in Las Vegas, Nevada. So thank you so much for joining us. And we want to just say how this Saturday morning Real Academy family is always our number one priorities on Saturday morning. Good morning, Miss Principal Dot McKeever Jeter. We are so thankful for your support and to have you joining us this morning. Good morning. And we look to Dot McKeever Jeter to always support because she's been such a big part of this platform for us. We have the Jasmine is with us this morning. Good morning. And we have none other than the Principal Kafele, who's joining us, the two doctors, from the balcony in St. Thomas. Wow. Thank you. What an honor to have you with us this morning, Principal Kafele. And again, thank you so much for the support that you provide to us each and every week. As Sheikah said, Principal Hurt wasn't on this morning. His son had a basketball game, so we are sure that at some point he is going to give us something probably on tomorrow that will tide us over for the week because we look forward to getting that inspirational message from him on Saturday morning as a part of this Fantastic Four. We are looking forward to hearing from Principal Kafele coming up next. And then tomorrow night, we'll have Josh and Dean and Chris from Unlock the Middle. So making sure again this morning that we are all on the same page as we are entering into a new school year. Our district actually begins on Monday. Our teachers come back, and we are so excited about a new school year. I was telling one of the teachers who came in last week and said, "Oh, Dr. Taylor, are you ready to go back to school?" And I said, "Absolutely. The beginning of the year and the end of the year are the most exciting times of the school year because that energy is so incredible." Good morning, Melissa. We are always excited to have you with us as well. We are looking forward to the school year, Principal Kafele. This is the first year since in a long time that I get to start the school year without that weight of improvement hanging over us. So we are going into a new school year with our theme being um, our continuous improvement efforts. So we're very, very excited. And I know we are, congratulations, Jasmine. I know you are excited because that to me was probably the scariest and best part of being a principal when I was very new. Like, I hope I do everything right. Nobody gets lost. And so, again, we look forward to a brand new school year. And we're going to get started because we do have a lot of content to cover this morning.
Most definitely. Thank you, Tammy, and thank you again for everyone that is joining us. We are the Leadership Doctors. We're able to help you every Saturday with this information. But if you also need us to get down in the weeds with you for school improvement or anything that's surrounding leadership at your school, those are the things that we're actually signing people on for right now with leadership coaching. Some of the people who have reached out stated that, they have support from their district, but just having that other ear of support that they can be more vulnerable with has been a great help. So, if that's something you need as a leader, those are services that we can provide. If you would just fill out the form on our website and I'll list it in the comments, we will definitely be in touch with you. So, as Tammy stated, it is always exciting to start the year. I've been that way since I was a little girl. And even as an educator, it is still exciting. So, the one thing that we want leaders and teachers to have that strong handle on is classroom management, because there's, nothing like getting into a new year and then just completely losing it by not having that strong handle of support on your classroom management. And some people feel like it starts with the teachers, but actually making sure that your classroom management is in place, it starts with the leader. The
Definitely.
leader sets the tone. Every school year, when my students would come back, before they went to anyone's classroom, we would go into the auditorium, of course, before COVID. We would go into the auditorium later. If they had to go into the classrooms during COVID, the first voice they would hear would be mine over I would pipe in through the classes. But I would let them know what the vision was for our school, what the expectations were, what it meant to be a cyclone, what I expected, and then if things were not going how they needed to go in a classroom, what they could expect when they got to me. So, we want to make sure that we are giving you some tips. So, we are going to be like Principal Hurt says on some mornings, we're going to be PowerPoint style.
Yes, we are. And we want to make sure that this is something that you guys realize is important to us. And we know the significance of giving out information, especially at this time, on managing the classroom, because this is the area that can make or break you as a teacher. And this is an area that can make and break you as an administrator. Hey, Carla, good morning.
So the first thing you want to do, and we've talked about that success where the leader sets that tone. You must do that as the leader, because you have to let the students know that you are supporting your teachers. I'll never forget a conversation with a student that he would always come up to the office and be so respectful to me, and I would say, "You're so mannerable and respectful when you come up here. Why can't you do that in the classroom?" And he said, "Because you're the principal. I have to respect you." I said, "Well, if I'm the principal and you respect me, then you respect everybody that I hired. So make sure when you go back to that classroom that you're talking to the teacher with the same respect that you are respecting me with right now. Otherwise, you're disrespecting me." So sometimes they got to hear it through a different lens. But for the teacher, you have to establish yourself as the leader of the classroom. Children are sizing you up as soon as they walk into the door. Now, it may not be that, for very small children who are preschool, who's having their first experience, but at the secondary level, my children have been in school for several years. They would actually come and tell me sometimes, "Dr. Houston, could you come to this class on this period right here? Because this teacher doesn't have good classroom management." It would baffle me that they knew the terminology. But what they were really saying to me was that, "Dr. Houston, I don't feel safe." So I would make sure I would go in and make sure that teacher gave them the guidance that they needed, or, got it together, whatever was happening, because you always want children to feel safe. But as the leader and they're sizing you up of your classroom, the little things that they're paying attention to are, do you have a seating chart? Or are you just allowing the kids to come in and just sit where you want? It's a free for all. Do you have any structures, procedures in place? Those are the things that help establish you as the leader of the class.
So just so Sheikah knows, because she's very mistaken, it does not matter how young they are. You can be 3 and they are checking you out to see if you are going to be the authority figure in the space, or can I just run ramshot? Because everybody's looking to be able to do just what they want to do. So when you are going into the class, and as Shika said, into the school, you need to make sure that you posture yourself in a way that establishes you not as Lord over everybody, but as
Mhm.
the one who is setting the expectations for what's going to happen in the space.
Exactly. And the next thing you want to do is make sure that you're creating a welcoming environment. There used to be this myth, and I think I even heard it when I was in the classroom, don't smile until Christmas. And that is the worst advice that you could receive. Children need to feel welcomed, you need to be pleasant. No one wants to go anywhere where they feel like it's a negative environment or that you haven't done anything to the class. It needs to be neat. It needs to look like you have taken some time to, welcome your students back. And sometimes, I'm not putting anything on the males. Sometimes that's not a male thing. And I will always remember one of my male teachers. He would ask me, Dr. Houston, may I bring my daughters with me to decorate the class? Sure, of course. We're all family. Bring whoever you need to get this classroom together to be ready for the children when they come back, but just make sure that it is very welcoming for the students.
Definitely. One thing that you need to remember when creating that environment that is welcoming and that is conducive to learning is many of our kids are coming into the school every single day from chaos and confusion and dishevelment. And so what you want to do is make sure that your teachers recognize that you need a space where the kids can come in and feel organized and safe. And the only way they're going to be able to feel that way is if you have an environment that is set up to lend itself to being one where the kids can thrive. Because if your room is cluttered and your room is a mess all the time, it creates more issues for you than a room that allows for kids to have space and see what they are expected to do. And you have a warm and welcoming and inviting environment.
Exactly. And, sometimes we could go a little bit overboard with things. So also make sure you know who's coming to your classroom, because sometimes the dangling things and like so much stuff can be distracting to students who, just won't work well in that environment. So, just be cognizant of that.
And I saw a comment from Tim that's really a very important point to make sure we emphasize, because he's right. A part of the environment for the class is us, and
Mhm.
just being there to greet kids as they're coming in and
Mhm.
tell them how happy you are to see them and welcoming them, high-fiving, or I have a teacher who hugs every morning, like, if the children want to hug.
Mhm.
And some of the male teachers, Mr. Fanukin is a handshaker. So just being there to make sure that the kids know, hey, this is your space. Come on in. I'm glad to see you.
Definitely. And sometimes I even play music as the children are coming in, just for something to be upbeat, to let them know, this is going to be exciting. And I can't see the comments or anything because I'm turning this, Tammy. So if you can keep
Yes,
putting those up.
I sure will.
And more along those lines of building relationships with students. We say this a lot in education, but sometimes people, I'm not sure if they really know how to do that. So we've just kind of spelled some things out. Children are people, get to know them just like you would anybody else. What their likes are, what their dislikes are. Tell them some of yours. Compliment them academically on their behavior. Do SEL check-ins. The professional development that I did for teachers, we just did something quick where they made name tents and they had the little stickers on their desk. They put a little blue, red, yellow, or green sticker to let me know, hey, if they were ready, not ready, just letting you know where their mind is that morning. Um, Once you start yelling or your voice has elevated with children, I have always warned teachers on this. This usually becomes comical to children. It always did at the secondary level. Tammy will tell you about the elementary level because that's not usually my forte with the smaller children. I have young children, but I have not taught small children except for the fourth Sundays at church when I have to rededicate my life back to Christ every Sunday with the preschoolers. But when you get to yelling and when they've gotten you out of character, they have you, and they're going to keep doing that many times because, like I said, it becomes comical to them. So you want to build community. You want to teach the children how to celebrate one another. One of the things that I hear a lot at the secondary level is, oh, our friends just don't know how to treat one another. They just treat each other so poorly or they talk so negatively to each other. But these are teaching moments. So we have to teach them how to talk to one another. And you do that through building community within your classroom. And of course, recognize and honor that diversity and then give students as much responsibility as possible. Even from them going to the restroom, I would put up a QR code for them, let them sign themselves out to go to the bathroom because that doesn't stop you from doing what you have to do. And of course, that is usually I'm speaking from a secondary lens. Tammy's going to speak from the elementary lens.
Yes, quite different with giving them a QR code to go to the bathroom.
Right.
However, it is still the same when you are in an elementary classroom. Kids recognize when yelling is just yelling.
Hmm.
And so we invite you to come up with strategies for asserting yourself in a way that doesn't make it a joke to the children, because they will begin to have fun with it
Hmm.
because they like to get under your skin. And so what you have to do is make sure that you go in and that you're in control. And one way of doing that is by making sure that you're checked in SEL. Like, make sure you go in there with a good frame of mind. And you have to do this each and every day. Like when you are at the door, make sure you're at the door and you're greeting them from this morning's perspective. We do
Hmm.
not need you at the door talking about what happened yesterday. And you are setting the tone. So when you go and you start telling them, I'm not having what we had yesterday, so don't come in here this morning with that. That creates another set of angst for the children who could possibly have forgotten what happened on yesterday. So let bygones be bygones is the only thing that I'm going to add about relationships, because and Tim mentioned this. James Comer said that there will be no significant learning without first establishing a significant relationship. And our friend Josh Tovar says all the time, kids do not care how much you know. They want to know how much you care. And then what you know matters because they'll allow you to teach it to them. So building those relationships are super, super important.
Most definitely. And with that yelling piece, just make sure you have a preset attention grabber. You can let them help you come up with the attention grabber, or, y'all can have a few of them, but as long as you have one and they know what the expectation is after it's stated and everybody gets quiet, we would have one for an entire auditorium of students, 900 students, and they knew after that was stated, it would be silence in the entire auditorium. So children will do exactly what you teach them to do and expect them to do. And that brings us to set clear expectations and procedures. So sometimes, I see it at the secondary level. We come in sometimes with these preset notions that, oh, The children have been going to school all this time. They know what to do. They know how to come into the classroom. Again, they are going to do what you allow them to do. They have not been to your class before. So you have to tell them how to come in. What's the first thing to do? Are we doing a bell ringer? You should be having something for them to start on as soon as they come into the room. How do we turn in our assignments? How do I get the teacher's attention? All of those things have to be gone over with students. And at the middle level, for the team, I would tell them as much as possible that if you all could be consistent, because the children are going to four different places, you don't want to have to, have these outlandish different big differences among the four of you. The more consistent that we can be on the team, the better. It just helps things go smoother. But everyone does have their different way of doing things, and we always give teachers that autonomy. And we can't just say, oh, well, I went over that the first day of school, we're done with that. These are things you have to continuously review. And we only got 3 more minutes, Tammy.
Definitely. And I'll say this with the clear expectations. It sounds to me like middle and high school kids are just big elementary kids, because the expectations and procedures, protocols, structures, all of those things are so, so important, because if you're making these things up as you go,
Hmm.
then there never is an understanding of what's expected from the children. And children thrive when they are in structured settings. So you first have to decide, what is this going to look like in my classroom? And then you're going to have to be flexible enough to know, this is what I wanted to happen, but this isn't going to work with this group of kids. So you
Hmm.
have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what's going to work in that environment.
Most definitely. And I told the teachers that I spoke with the other day, the best classroom management that you could ever have is making sure that your classroom is engaging and not boring. Nobody wants to come in and listen to somebody talk for a whole 60, 70, 80, 90, however many minutes of just you talking. It has to be engaging where they are doing things. They love competition, they love gaming, they love collaboration, and they really love for things to be personalized. One of the tips that I gave the teachers that we worked with the other day was that if children are creating name tents, have them put at the bottom what they want to be. Or if they don't know what they want to be, have them put down their favorite subject. So you can start speaking to them through the lens of, this is how this relates directly to you if you want to go into nursing. The more personalized we can get with children, the better. Everything in the world now is personalized. When I cut on my TV, I have a personalized experience. Netflix knows everything I watch, and they just personalize everything else that they recommend.
That's for sure. And that personalization can follow us into the classroom. As teachers and as leaders, that's the purpose of making sure that you understand classroom dynamics and grouping kids in groups, or having them to work together to collaborate on various things, but allowing them the experience of having an engaging environment. And I'm going to say this to you leaders this year. This is something that I think we need to make sure we get a handle on. We cannot continue in this age of technology, allow teachers to think that the only way to engage kids is to put them on a tablet.
Right.
Tablets cannot replace explicit direct instruction. We're going to have to help our teachers to remember that you are the teacher in this classroom, and we're going to have to give them some engagement strategies that allow them to present content in a way that they don't feel like they have to have the tablet every second of every day.
Exactly. And we are out of time. So we will do a part two to this and finish up next week. But we hope that you all have an amazing school year.
Definitely.
Start your year off right. Make sure you have a handle on your students and leaders. Set that tone for your school and for your teachers with expectations. Join us next on Principal Kafele's platform and also for Unlock the Middle on Sunday with Josh and Dean. Thank you all. Have a great rest of your Saturday. And
Happy
remember, we
Saturday.
create spaces that thrive. Keep thriving on this Saturday. Thank you.
Bye, guys.